everybody. Good evening, and welcome to the second of many to come Steps and Stages live client chat. Tonight, I want to give you just a heads up about what you can expect. We've invited several of our clients from different programs within our community to sit and have a conversation about what it means to talk about transformation, not only talk about it, what it means to live it, what it means to build a vision, to step into it fully, and to have that be the basis for designing a life you truly love living. So we have about 60 minutes. Feel free that if you're on one of our platforms, LinkedIn, YouTube, or Facebook, to go ahead and share this with people who you think might be interested. And also feel free to drop your comments and questions in the chat. We'll try to get to each of those as we talk to these clients this evening. So my name is Crystal Brown, and I'm affectionately known as Coach Crystal. I am the Chief Visioning Officer of Steps and Stages Coaching, where we not only take people beyond traditional success, but we help them design lives they truly love living. And tonight, we're going to talk to some of those people. I'm going to bring up each one of these clients. They're going to tell you their name, what particular tier of our community they have completed or are currently in, and where they're joining us from tonight. So we're going to have Amora join us first. Amora, welcome to the live client chat. Tell us where you're coming from this evening.
Hello, everyone. I am here in Gaithersburg, Maryland, and I am one of the fabulous masterminders in the Steps and Stages community. Hey!
Hey, thanks for coming. Thanks for coming. Julia, tell us a little bit about where you are and where you're coming from.
Well, my name's Julia. I'm joining you all from Naples, Florida. I'm vacationing over here. And I completed the, oh, good Lord, Crystal. Vision building.
Yes, exactly. Thanks for joining us, Julia. Thank you. Hey, Heather, tell us about where you're coming from.
Hi, my name's Heather. I am in Vermont, and I just recently completed the Life Mastery class, and will be going on to continue with Steps and Stages. I'm really excited to be here.
All right, and thanks for coming. Shoshana.
Hi, I'm Shoshana, and not far away from Heather, also here in Vermont. And I did the Dream Builder class, and I need to continue to do that for another 10 years, I think.
Yeah. Welcome, Shoshana. Thank you for joining us. And Michelle.
Hi, everybody. I'm calling in from Rochester, New York. Woo! Nice and cold here. I graduated from the Vision course, and now I'm Life Mastery.
Nice. Welcome. And Jess.
Hey,
Jess.
Oh yeah. All right, great. I started out with Brown Girls Dreaming, and then Dream Builders, and now I'm doing Life Mastery, and I'm calling in from Lexington, Massachusetts.
Awesome. So as you can see, our community is not bound by geography. Hello, Patricia Garza. Thank you for joining us virtually. Thank you. We have some clients in the chat as well. Want to shout them out. And we have Lisa Phelps who's going to join us too. Lisa, welcome. Lisa, tell people where you're coming in from and which program you have completed, and we'll get the conversation started from there.
I am coming from Middlebury, Vermont, and I completed the Dream Builders course.
Excellent. So as you can tell, our community is not limited by geography. And what we do here is really about planting seeds for designing true freedom. And so many people might call what I do life coaching, but we actually believe here at Steps and Stages that you don't have a life unless you have a vision. So we have to start from the beginning. So I'm going to ask each one of these clients, and they can jump in however they like, to just say what drew them to this work and what have you seen change in your life since doing this work. Anybody can have it.
I can start.
Go for it.
Crystal was teaching in a dance organization cohort last summer at Bates Dance Festival. And she was applying these very same tools to how to make a living in New England as a choreographer. And it was incredibly transformative. And the kinds of questions she was asking were really empowering for me and allowed me to let go of so many issues that I really didn't even have to mess with. And I found that so liberating. And so I ended up continuing on and signing on for the Dream Builders group. And so that was 3 months starting back in January. And since then, starting from last summer at Bates, my career has just been exploding, and I'm building the social life that I want. I'm having better communications with my kids. Money is coming in my bank account like nobody's business. And I'm feeling really excited every single day to live my life and do what I love. And I'm just really thankful to continue.
Thank you, Jess. Thank you. I'm excited for you. I've seen the transformation, but like we said, y'all, we're having this live client chat because it doesn't matter if you hear it from me. You need to hear it from the people who are living it. We just had another client join us. Adana, tell people where you're calling in from and which level of our community you have completed or are entering.
Hello, everyone. I am calling in right now from Brunswick, Maine, and I just completed the Dream Builders. What else?
That's all for now. We're just talking about what drew you to this work and what changes have you seen in your own livelihood or your life since doing it. So anybody can jump in.
Well, I can continue. I was saying,
Go for it.
it's just kind of in a moment of crossroads, still in that moment of crossroads, but getting clarity as to like where I need to land with regards to like the things that really matter versus the things that I'm good at, and like detangling myself from like I am not what I do, but I am who I be, and like from that place making life decisions. So I'm in the process of figuring that out in terms of the practicality of it, but like the clarity that that's the direction that I'm going towards is where I'm at right now. I'm grateful to be there.
Yeah. Nice. That's amazing, right? So a lot of what we talk about here at Steps and Stages is that, it's not just about what you're doing, it's who you're becoming. And if we haven't decided on that, then the rest of what we're doing is probably just going to keep us stuck in a rut. Anybody else want to jump in?
I'll jump in.
Go for it.
So 2020 pandemic, a lot of things changing. And I was given some grace of time in a way that I hadn't for a long time. Mm-hmm. And one of the questions I came to this place where I realized I'd been approaching my life from this place of always trying to figure out what I needed to fix. What was the next thing I needed to work on? What was the next thing I needed to challenge about myself? And I really became aware one day that I wanted to approach it differently. And I wanted to approach it with, well, what's right with me? I had this sneaking suspicion that there were more things right with me than there were wrong with me, or there were more things about me to be discovered that I wanted to invest in rather than figuring out how to fix what I don't actually think was broken. And I started 2 of my own businesses. And at that point, I realized I had helped lots of other people's and organizations start their businesses. And I didn't know how to get past where I was in starting my own. So I decided to invest in myself and my future and my life. And that's when I joined.
Yeah. Thank you, Heather. Thank you. We'll get to the big, we know what you just had some serious quick turnover. We'll get to that in a second. You can tell us the story in a second. Anybody else? What's up? What drew you to this work and what you're doing? Yeah, Julia.
So I ended up doing one of your intro coaching calls, and that was absolutely fabulous because I got a ton from just that. Yeah. And honestly, I kind of kept pushing back because of the financial investment on it. And I'm like, ooh, it's an awful lot of money. And, like you said, Heather, it's an investment in myself. Now, I've been in practice successfully over 30 years, but I felt like there was something else I wanted to be doing, but I wasn't really sure what that was. And there's a lot more that I still need to be working on with it. And honestly, Danny asked me like 3 or 4 different times to be on one of these calls, and I kept saying no because I kept comparing my story to everybody else's story and decided I wasn't putting to use what I had learned enough. So I was like in this whole huge world of judgment about it. So thanks everybody for being here with me and letting me just be me.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And y'all didn't even catch me. I'm all out of order, but Julia just reminded me, right? Like, we don't start anything without the mantra. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, everybody here. Welcome, clients. Welcome, community. But this is how we start here. A lot of things happen before this, and we guarantee a lot of things will happen after this. But we promise to be here with you now. Please be here with us now. Right? Removing all the judgment, all the despair, all the questioning, all the shoulda, woulda, couldas, and just really allowing each other to be in the space and holding space for our transformation. Welcome, Norma. Norma, tell our guest who you are, where you're coming from, and which level of our community you have completed or are going into.
Hi, everyone. I'm Norma. I am calling in from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania today, and I just completed the Dream Builder program.
Awesome. Awesome. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining us. All right. So, a lot of people are really interested in how this work works, right? And so different than many other type of coaches, business coaches, life coaches, I have never guaranteed any of you anything, right? But what I want to know is, without that guarantee, what keeps you doing this work, or what actually made you feel compelled to work on this type of transformation?
I'll jump in.
Go ahead.
So I also started with the vision call with Crystal, which just popped up in a moment of crisis in my life, and I believe in signs like that, and was like, oh, perfect, I got to talk to Crystal. But I think for me, the greatest fear that I struggled with was the fear of falling asleep at the wheel, or just being passively a participant in my life. And the amount of to do and systems that kind of support that kind of a way to live your life, or just deplete you and exhaust you so much that you don't take the initiative to do it differently. So I think it's that, and we've been working through a family leadership transition here of our theater through this whole process, and it's very much led by love, but I was very much in need of a community outside of my family to help facilitate that transition and to feel support. And support, I think, is just such an underrated word. It's at the core of everything for me. And in some ways that's really tangible. In a way I need physical support, or but in support of a vision is something that I don't think we talk about very much. And there's not many communities in which I experience someone asking what I would love and then supporting that love. So I think that's what keeps me so engaged, because that's somehow, it shouldn't be, but somehow really unique and uncommon.
Right. I mean, it brings up one of our core beliefs, right? That you have to have partners in believing. Nobody changes alone. Like, I mean, we've tried it on our own. It probably didn't work out so well, right? So what else keeps you guys, doing this work, or what was your main draw?
I think for me, it was like, I would say, a whole new world, right? And not that it didn't exist before. I realized it was just opened up to me in this platform by Crystal. So growing up in, religious family, Caribbean family, and it was just a whole new way of thinking, right? And in the beginning, it was uncomfortable because, one way for most of your life, you're like, this is weird. But what kept me coming back is that I wanted to know more, and I always got more, right? And then just even thinking about growth in a different way, as opposed to, it needs to be fireworks, like right now. but it's like literally the steps and stages of it. And as you go through that, learning how to be more aware of the growth that's happening, because like a lot of things are happening, and so just waiting for the fireworks is like I miss things. So being able to be aware of, okay, I did this happened, this is what happened, the community and growing, and that's what kept me coming back, the community. And just it's always something, even when coach says we're just going to no, it's always something that is like, whoa, and it's like, okay, that was like mind blowing. All right, I'm gonna come back, so always getting something more to add to what we have, add to that foundation to keep building up. That's what keeps me coming back. So like, because like other programs, it's like, this is what we got, this is what we're presenting and seeing. But since I've been here, going through Dream Builders, Life Mastery, Into Your Genius, now in Mastermind, I don't feel like, okay, I don't feel like that at all. I'm always getting something, and I still want more. So you're stuck with me, coach.
Okay, thanks. And I think that's important. It's important just to illuminate this part of your background, Amora, just to say, what is your occupational background?
So I've been a public school teacher since 2008.
Yeah.
And in 2020, I decided to let that go.
Right. And I'm asking Amora to just be explicit about that, right? Because coming from a background of education where there is a linear way to build and know, right? It challenged a lot of what not only her personal beliefs, but her professional standard, right? Mm-hmm. So we had to, like, digging through that was a part of our process together.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Go, Lisa.
There's also somebody, and Julia is a very strong female presence in my life as well. So it's cool to see her on there. I was drawn to Coach Crystal. Like, I just kept seeing all the Instagrams. I'm like, oh my God, what is this? And so I just kept seeing it. I didn't do anything with it. And then I had the call, and I didn't really realize like how much of like how I was in such a negative space. And I didn't allow, everything was clouding my vision. I wasn't allowing anything positive to come into my life. Everything was like someone else's fault, or I wasn't good enough, or I was really stuck. And I had a business partner that had left my business, and I was in so much pain, I think, and I wasn't allowing that to like come through, and I didn't know how to fix it. And I've tried everything. I've tried so many different coaching courses, and I've done therapy, and I've done everything. But for some reason, this really clicked. And I realized that fear was like really clouding my vision. I really do feel like I'm thriving instead of surviving. I feel happy. I feel like I'm really looking at myself in a different way. My employees are happier with me. I mean, they say it all the time. Like, I talk about this vision class to every one of my clients because they see a difference in me. I'm happier. I'm smiling more, and I'm letting go of that fear. And I'm really. I feel like I'm more confident in so many different ways. So it really did change my life. And I do plan on doing more of these courses. And I just want to I'm very thankful for it.
Nice work, Lisa. Nice work. I mean, I just want to shout out too, right? Like, you're talking a little bit about your personal and professional. But right at Steps and Stages, we don't believe that there's any professional development without personal development. And one of the keys that Lisa showed or talked about a lot, right, when we were in our group, is just like her like level of mamahood, like went to like a 10. Like, we had like yes, I'm a boss businesswoman, but let me tell you what's really happening right now. My kid is in love with me. Right. And it's like the time, the openness, it really did just kind of give you a bigger spectrum of success. And so Really proud of that for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Oh,
for
Oh,
go ahead, Norma.
I'm sorry.
no. Michelle then Norma. Go, Michelle.
Oh, okay. Well, I think for me, this work is so exciting. I wake up and I'm just like, oh, okay. I'm thinking about you know this work has had me think about my paradigms, the things that have been holding me back from just going out there and going after the things that I want. I
Mhm.
realized I realized a long while ago that something was missing. Like I wanted more. But you're always told you need to be grateful for what you have. I have a I have a job. I'm getting paid. I work every day. I have a house I live in. I have all these things, but there was always something. I'm like, I want more, but the paradigm was telling me like, you're trying to be greedy. You just want too much. Just calm down. And so since I've been, you know, working with Coach Crystal, I realized like we deserve more. We deserve what we want. Why can't I ask for more? Why can't I work towards more? And it's so exciting to know that you know I'm growing into the person that I was meant to be. Just holding. I've always been holding myself back, so I'm really aware of the paradigms that I have, had in my head for so many years. And,
Yeah.
and that's exciting. I just every day, just the things that I say to myself, sometimes you're driving, you're like, oh, I'm so stupid. What? You know,
Who you talking
you
to?
know,
Who
I,
you
I ain't talking to you. I'm not stupid. It's just little things. You could be just driving and you just, do something and you just say things and your words are so powerful.
Mhm.
And so it's really exciting to me, just this work, and that's what keeps me coming back, and you know just want to
Thank
share
you,
that.
Michelle. That's awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much. No, it's true, right? Because the voices in our head, like okay, Michelle's using some kind of like behind the kitchen in the kitchen making the sausage language, right? But like these paradigms are the deep belief systems that either keep you bound to your past or allow you the freedom to see yourself fully in your future, in your vision, right? And so what Michelle is illustrating is a lot of what many people have going on day to day. 95% of the thoughts you're having today are the same thoughts you had yesterday. So undoing those paradigms and getting into that 5% of potential, that 5% of imagination, that wisdom and articulation of a vision takes work. And so we have to continue to saturate ourselves in what we want. You can be grateful and still want more. That's just how it works. We're meant to evolve.
Yeah.
Norma, what you got?
So I feel like Lisa and Michelle spoke a lot about about my, experience, and there was a lot of commonalities. I've been really at a place probably since like 2019 about like really trying to move forward with my career and make some changes. But feeling like the most important thing was like the effort and the doing,
Mm,
and not so like performing and presenting and like doing all this stuff. But what I realized is like the negative thinking and the lack of expectation of something good happening. And just like leaving out the divine intervention and all of that was something that really showed me, like, I was kind of like, I had been in therapy, I had been doing this, I had been doing all the doing, but
mhm.
really what the missing piece was attacking the negative mindset. And I found more so that that was what, because yeah, I've said to myself, I remember saying in a rehearsal with an artist I was working with, because I didn't catch the break from the drummer, was like, oh my God, you're so stupid. And she was like, and I was like, oh, I said that out loud. And so the fact that those are things that we think. And so the idea for me, the program, and I had been working with another kind of like career coach, kind of talking about what I was interested in doing and transitioning, and thinking that, oh, once my son gets a certain age, I'll do that. And with the pandemic, a lot of things, stuff at home, my son, my health, like a lot of things really showed me that everything, there was just like a huge breakdown.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right. And I was meeting with this person, and they were like, you know who you should talk to? Like, you should do that program, because I think that I've done all I can do for you right now. And what it's really helped me see is looking at the 4 areas of life, how much my life was momming, and there was such an imbalance in the other areas of my life that I wasn't even able to actually like identify what I would love in those other areas. It was just like, I'm just trying to get through the day. And a lot of the negative thinking, forgiveness, like a lot of that. And I also have been like, okay, well, you haven't finished all the work, but that's okay. Keep showing up. The fact that I hold myself to like such a high standard, despite the fact that there's all these other things going on and things that are outside of my control.
Oh yeah.
And so I think the biggest thing was really examining my thoughts and being cognizant of those, and then like having grace with myself to continue to show up and know that it's a continuous like process. So this really fit the missing piece of like therapy. I was like, I'm dealing with what was back there. Great. How do I get from there to where I am to where I want to be? And so it's just been a great experience. So I'm really appreciative of that, and everyone learning from everyone else and realizing like everybody else doesn't have it all together.
No.
I'm not alone. So yeah.
No, you are not alone. No. I mean, let's just jump from there, y'all. In this particular community, right? Because I'm going to call us a real community. I know that there are other coaching platforms out there who say that they're a community, but you don't necessarily see the coach. You don't necessarily know anybody else's name. You don't connect afterwards. Let's talk a little bit about how this community has transformed your life, right? And I know some of you started off as one-on-one clients and then moved into groups and then back and forth. And so just talk a little bit about how you've been able to connect, or how even just being in the midst of other people has helped your transformation.
Some of us, meaning other community members that are not here, we were actually talking about that today. And, I got called in because
we don't say called out. We say called in.
Yeah, we say called in, right? And so I love that it's a safe space. Like, this is where I am. But the community doesn't just leave you there, right? They're like, okay, great. We hear you. We see you. Now let's move, like, how do we get moving? So one things I said, like, as we mentioned before, I let go of public school teaching. So I left work. And so what I've been saying is I left work, I left family, I left church. And so one of my cousins, when someone's listening to you, but they just got something just right there ready to like, and finally when I stopped talking, she's like, I need you to stop saying you walked away from family, because what are we doing here? What are we doing here? And that's how, like, that's the best way to explain and then she was like, what you explained as what you walked away from, that's not family. Mm-hmm. That is not family. But what we're doing here is family. So when you say you're walking away from family, why are you even on this call? Like, literally, that was the conversation. So that safe space to say, this is where I am, that safe space to say, this is where I want to be, no judgment. And then that safe space to know that your partners in believing are not going to leave you. And then it's not going to be the, oh, okay, that's great. It's not going to be that fluffy stuff. It's like, okay, so you already know this. What are you going to do? Okay, great. What next step? When are you going to get this done? Do we need to call you tomorrow? Like, literally having that actually happen, or the text message, hello, where are you? Yeah. I didn't see your response. Like, that, like, legit. I was like, I can't, like, I came in as the quiet one, not really sharing. And I had to get over that because I couldn't hide anymore. Once we got to that level of family of, hello, what are you doing? Which, we're not leaving this call until you say something, like until you share, until you answer the question, or great. Now they know my deflecting strategies. It's just not working anymore. So that level of family, like, okay, so I literally can't hide. Okay, all right, I tried it, but it doesn't work anymore. But for the best, like, and it's not just, like I said, it's not just fluff. They literally are looking at what you are saying and not giving you, I call them the churchy phrases, like, oh, everything be okay. No, okay, we're listening to you. We see the problem. Let's work through it. Let's mastermind through it. So that's what it is for me.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Mhm.
And I just want to say, like, that's not me doing that. I mean, sometimes I have to leave, you know, strongly supportive messages, but that's not, no. Julia, what you got?
So I just wanted to share with people that even if you complete just one course and you haven't invested in another course, the Steps and Stages program has that whole Facebook piece where I've been kind of voyeuristically checking in and watching things and kind of touching base with a few people. But I got some really nice feedback about artwork that I'd done, and it completely freaked me out, and I kind of crept away. And so it's nice because everything Crystal's, coach is saying about a non-judgmental community, that's absolutely true. And there's no pressure to go do something that you're not ready to go do.
Mm-hmm.
And prior to this evening, I'd been in a whole world of judgment about my incubating that I've been doing since, Crystal, when did we finish that? In January?
Yeah, just a little while. It was time is relative.
Yeah, okay. It's been a minute. But there is no one path for anything, and nature doesn't have a time clock on stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm probably the oldest one on this call, and compare myself. Yeah, Crystal. Crystal's looking. Like, yep, I am. Got the white hairs to show it. But the comparing trap is one that I'm still working on overcoming.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized through going through that Dream Builder course that I'd become very, very comfortable with stress and overwhelm. And I sold my home, sold my practice. We moved down here to Florida. Lisa, I miss you terribly. And Crystal, we were all there in Middlebury. But I recreated the same stress and chaos.
Mm.
And I'm like, wow, isn't that convenient? What a nice way to not focus on me and what it is I could be doing.
Mm.
So thank you for all this.
Yeah, that's awesome. Oh, Julia, thank you so much for saying that, right? Because what we don't realize, many of us who do this work are really cognizant of our patterns, right? And if we are not clear about what our patterns are, then we'll just keep doing them over and over, right? And we'll call it success, or we'll call it plateaus, or we'll call it a new goal. But that's the reason that in this community, we don't talk about goals. We talk about vision, because a goal is going to get you to 10 and you're going to achieve it and you're going to start over. You're going to get a doctorate. You're going to feel great for a day. Then you're going to be like, what's next? You're going to do this for, and then you're always going to keep hitting that roller coaster of highs and lows. But in this vision vortex, we're constantly looking to the evolution of who we're becoming, not just what we can do. So that's huge. Thank you so much for illustrating that. Thank you so much. I just want to jump in real quick because I know I know what's going on with most of you here. But I just want to talk a little bit about how things happen in such a non-linear fashion, right? And many of you had a moment of discomfort or a segment of discomfort in your life that you were like, oh, I got to do something different now. Like, this is not working. And I know that many of you were like, okay, I'm going to do something different, and I'm going to put myself on this other timeline now I'm going to evolve. In a couple of years, things will be different. And Heather Jeffrey just had like a 48-hour turnaround on her whole life. And I just was wondering, Heather, you want to just share what that's felt like in terms of like what you thought for yourself, what you planned, and then how it happened?
Sure. So I did the same thing. Like, okay, I'm going to start this plan, and in this amount of time, hopefully, I'll get to here. one of the things that consistently amazes me about this work is how when you're really doing it and you're committed, like stuff just comes up out of nowhere. I know what my vision is, but how that arrives has been shocking. So yeah, within 48 hours, I knew I wanted to move. So since starting this, there's a lot, people. I started a YouTube television cooking show, which involves my stepdaughter filming and editing. It involves my daughter-in-law co-hosting with me. My grandbaby is in the picture with me. I think I might be the same age, Julia. It is this whole family affair, and that's one part of what I do right now. But we decided we all wanted to live together. We wanted a family house where there were 3 generations and 3 merged families, and we love each other that much, which I think is an amazing, and I think might be slightly rare occurrence. And so we decided, okay, great, we're going to put this house on the market that I own. Now, let me tell you, when I bought this house 5 years ago, I paid $50,000 in cash for it. It was in foreclosure. I'd been a single mom my whole life, working nonprofit jobs and putting myself through school. I never thought I would own a house. This only happened because both of my parents died. I thought that was it. I thought I had arrived. Like, this for me was gold. So last week on Tuesday, we put this house on the market. It sold for $185,000 cash sale with no contingencies. By Friday night, we had a contract on a multifamily home that we will all be moving into, where we will be producing this show together and selling cupcakes and tacos off our porch, amongst many other things. Simultaneously, while this is happening, and, I was thinking, okay, there were many moments in this where I was like, remember, right before you're about to go to that next level, things are going to you're going to be challenged. And that happened like over and over again, where we apply for the mortgage. Both my husband and I are self-employed. I get an email back saying, sorry. Like, that was it. The email comes back, sorry. And I was like, nope, email back. Well, this is happening this year. And if you wanted to be with your company, you're going to explain to me the steps I need to take in order for this to happen. 3 days later, we had a mortgage. I just didn't take no for an answer. And I had to do steps to get there. In that same process, in that same time, I reconsolidated my student loans and got a letter saying $120,000 of your student loan debt has been forgiven. $120,000 of my student loan debt was forgiven because I chose to consolidate my loans at that moment. These are a few things in the course of the last week. It really feels like a life work that has been in the work this whole time. And this process that I'm engaged in with all of you and Crystal, just gives me the tools I need to train myself to step into what I've been born to do. So thanks.
No. Thank you. I mean, right. Like, again, your vision has good in it for others. Like, we have one of those rules here, Steps and Stages, that the thing you're trying to create has to have good in it for others. Otherwise, it's just one of those accomplishments that leaves you empty at the end of the day, right? And so, one of Heather's also, like, kind of background visions for this big vision is to heal herself, right? In terms of her relationship with her mother and parents. And like, so this entire vision has that healing component. It's like community, it's everything. Like, and so I'm just so excited because I'm ready to, get to Northampton and buy some tacos off the porch. Like, it's going to be amazing, right? I mean, like, everybody, we're going on a field trip. Yeah. What else has come up for you guys unexpectedly during this life work?
Well, it's not necessarily unexpectedly, but well, I don't know. But I am I was the kind of person to be in the background, and just to be on a platform like this was like, absolutely not. I am not going on there. I am not saying anything. I am not talking. No. But since I've been in the program, I'm like, you know what? No, I could do this. I could, share my thoughts, my feelings, and, just to be here right now is a big, a big step for me.
Yeah.
And it makes me feel good that I can, do something like this and not feel like, oh my gosh, this is so, I'm so nervous. Oh, you know, I
Yeah.
got to talk.
Doing great. You're doing great, Michelle.
So, I don't know if that's necessarily like something, you know, unexpected. I don't really know how to explain that, but, it just is just amazing and it just really feels great, you know.
I mean, so we heard a little bit about this earlier, but like, y'all, the people around you, right? We talk about this all the time, right? You're navigating circumstances, situations, and conditions that are a part of your life, and you're transforming yourself. And so sometimes those situations give you reflections of your growth that you didn't even expect, right? Like Lisa's talking about her employees, right? Like all of the people who are around you are also benefiting and responding. So, what's maybe one of those reflections that you've gotten that you didn't expect from other people?
Um, I think one of the things when I got my certificate in the mail,
Uh huh.
I didn't graduate from college, and that is one of the things that I've always felt like I was less than
Mm.
other people.
Hmm.
But I am successful.
Yeah.
But when I got this certificate, I was like, I framed it, and even like my kids were really proud of it. But it just meant so much more to me than if I got if I graduated from college because
Hmm.
I changed. And I do think I've kind of entered into faith more. And I had a person call me, really upset, and she was a former employee of mine, and she was like, "Girl, you're going to be blessed, and I'm calling you to tell you that you are the best boss I ever had, and I love you." And it was just interesting because I was telling her about Crystal, and she's from South Carolina as well. A lot of similarities. And then I get off the phone with her, and I drive to McDonald's because it was Easter and I was exhausted. And my kids were like, "I just want pancakes from McDonald's." And I'm like, "All right, awesome." So I go to McDonald's and I'm thinking about Crystal and I'm thinking about, my friend, and just like so happy that somebody recognized all the, I give so much. And I just felt like, oh, wow, like somebody recognized that. I turn around and there's Coach Crystal behind me at McDonald's. And I said to the guy, I'm like, I'm paying for her in the background, which ended up being a complete disaster and held up the entire line because they couldn't figure it out. But just like I'm noticing like things are happening that way. And I think about Norma and Jess and Michelle, and I think about all the people in my group that I was with, and I think about them every single day. Like, what are they up to? What are they doing? Of course, like Norma is my girl because she's from Philly. And but it's one of those things where like no matter what, I think about this community all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just think the whole piece of like faith and believing and manifesting good things, like just something I never thought about before.
Yeah. 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 Heather, yeah, and it was like I came back because we have to go to just so I mean, I'm not a health coach. Okay, just want to put that out there. I'm a vision coach, right? And sometimes our vision for Sunday morning, in order to get somewhere on time, is that we eat McGriddles from McDonald's. So that's where I was going. I was like, Gabe, I'm going to get the food. You better be ready by the time I circle back in this parking lot. And I pulled up to the counter. I had already used my little app and everything. I had a coupon. And so this lady was like, that lady paid for you. And I'm like, Lisa, what are you doing? Like yelling out the window at McDonald's. But thank you. We were very appreciative. So wonderful. Norma, you had your hand up?
Yeah, I want to say I think there's a lot has happened since my vision call in October,
Mm.
and it was everything from wanting to move to a better apartment to wanting to leave my job, which I'm like, it's close to being emancipated. But but I was applying for a managing director job at a dance organization here in Philly that I was like, it's what I want to do, but I'm not sure if it's the right fit. And I think really carving out, so I didn't get that position, but carving out the idea around wanting to be my full authentic self and like really committing to that through this process. Like I manifested the job, I manifested the apartment. Like I felt like things happened really fast and they're not exactly everything isn't where I'd like it to be, but I felt like as soon as I tapped into the program or just tapped into the vision call and really like was able to admit it wasn't that I didn't know what my vision was, I didn't believe that I was worthy of having it. So it was like, whereas like I felt like I came to the class and a lot of people were like, I don't really know what I want to do. And I was like, I know what I want to do. I'm doing everything, but I'm still like, and I'm still on like 1,000. And recently, my son moved with his dad and they are they're making some adjustments. And my son is calling me and like the phone got taken away and this and that, and my boyfriend who also moved, and he'll be back. I had just like this exodus of men so that I could focus on myself, and I spent most of last year crying about that, but I've adjusted. um he's like, how's Jerome? And I'm like, yeah, Jerome got the phone taken away and he emailed me and then the email stopped coming, so I don't really know what's going on, but I'm gonna watch some comedy and I'm gonna like have some whiskey, and then I'm gonna like go to sleep. And my boyfriend's like, I'm sorry, I called to speak to Norma. And I was like, because any other time I would have been like, I'm originally from DC. 2 hours flat. I can be there like, y'all not answering the phone. What's happening? And you know what I mean? And I did have to take a drink, take a little edge off. I did have to I had to channel my energy, but I was just like, you're focusing on Norma and they are gonna work that out. And yeah, like and he was just like, I called to talk to Norma. I'm not sure who this. I was like, I'm trying to grow, okay? Like I could, like I have the easy pass on the car, but I mean, and even Crystal as being a mom has really helped with just like I appreciate everyone's transparency in the program because we're all dealing with some of the same life stuff, even though we're coming from different vantage points. So I can definitely say that like things have shifted and they're shifting faster than they're shifting faster because I'm really dealing with my thinking and my expectation of them shifting. And yeah, like I'm just kind of like, yeah, I'm chilling. Like I'm on medical leave. I'm chilling. Like I'm riding it out till I get an offer. And like that's what if good luck, you guys. That's kind of as opposed to like I should be doing this, and I should be doing that, or this didn't happen right, or that kind of thing. So I really appreciate that.
Yeah. I mean, everyone's growth is on a specific trajectory. It's tailored to you, right? And so we don't compare our success to another person, right? We have to stay focused on our vision, right? We have a vision vortex. If we're looking outside that vortex, then there is room for distraction, delay, and it's detrimental to your mental health, right? Because a lot of the work we're doing is not hard work, it's head work. And once the head work starts, it becomes heart work. And then once the heart work starts, we actually have to get our hands dirty in dismantling some of those paradigms that have kept us living the same pattern over and over and over again. Y'all, I am really excited. I'm so excited to be able to hear from you in this way. I know you're not all in the same cohort and some of you have never met before. And I think that speaks volumes again about our community, that we could all still be in this space together and have this conversation. I'm just going to ask you, we got about 10 minutes left. I'm just going to ask you, just go around. We'll go one at a time, and just say, if someone is on the fence right now about doing this work, what should they think about and what could be their next step? Amora, you're in the mastermind. I think you have to start.
Okay, that's what being in the mastermind means?
That's what it means.
I think that you are part of this journey. So like if you come from a religious background and you're used to saying God will provide, God will come through and make sure like you are in here too. So it's you're like the that center, right? So you got to be in there. You got to be, no matter what it feels like, looks like, you without the you. So being in the program helps you to recognize who you are, right? And develop who you want to be, because without that, it's not going to work. no matter how many times you pray a day. And trust me, I used to pray a lot. Like, I mean, I still do. But that was it for me. It's like, because I just had this idea of like, oh, God is going to do this, and my family's supposed to do this, and work is going to provide this. And it was like, and it's just going to happen for me. And I was just missing the me. Or I was waiting for someone else to tell me who I was, what I'm supposed to do, who I'm supposed to be. But like in here, you get to decide who you are, see who you are, and be who you are in this space. So that's what I would say. Come on in and be ready to be you.
Yeah.
Come on. You know you want
All right.
to.
Okay, Coach Amora. Next. Who's up next? Julia?
There we go. Unmute. I would say I'll borrow it from Tony Robbins. Finances usually hold people up from making a decision. And he would say, this is expensive compared to what? So when you put it in those terms, I mean, it's like the financial investment is really minuscule when you look at where it is you can be. And how do you put a price tag on like what Amora's explaining, or Norma, or Lisa, or everybody on this call? I mean, to have that kind of support to expand that vision is priceless.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Heather?
I think what I want to say is, if you're feeling like this might be selfish, like it's something, that feels too much to give yourself, it's not just about you. I have watched everyone who is close to me transform as a result of my transformation. I think the more authentically you can be and live your life and be in it, you give permission to the person standing next to you to do the same. And for me, that's one of the hugest benefits of all of this, is that, I wake up every morning, and I say, I expand in love, success, and abundance every day, and I inspire others to do the same. So it's not just about you. It really is transforming for everyone around you. And in that is a great gift.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Shoshana?
I got so wrapped up in what Heather was saying because I really felt that. I forgot. I had a whole thing going. I think that life is a constant balance between freedom and security. And I feel like all our paradigms push us to the place of security by not, and there's this, the word expansive is amazing. The amount of possibility that suddenly opened up when shame could be released.
Yes.
Or fear. And I think shame is one of the biggest vision killers. That transformed my journey. And I think anyone who experiences like any undermining of the way you understand the world, or whatever intuitive knowledge you feel you possess, that just gets shot down by the paradigm you live in.
Yeah.
To understand that is not a shameful thing, but that is something really exciting and beautiful to dive into.
Yeah. Thank you, Shoshana. That's great. That's great. Michelle?
Sorry. Okay, got it. I actually was thinking about this, the other day to myself in the car driving. But, I was thinking about, you spend X amount of money to, look good on the outside. I'm going to buy this so I can look here. Or you spend X amount of money to go to college to, get this, piece of paper to put on your wall. Or, you spend all this money. But when it comes to something like this that could grow you and evolve you and get you to just expand,
Yeah.
You start second guessing that. But when you think about that, like, okay, I'm going to spend money for this, going to spend it. Why don't I invest in myself to then, when I invest in myself, I can go here, you know what I mean? I can expand. I could do so much more,
Yeah.
So if you're, thinking about that, I like to look at it that way,
Yeah, you're worth it. You're worth it. What you got, Jess?
The money was a big thing for me. I think I was really hung up on taking that money out and investing it. And I want to talk about the power of the universe, because this practice that we're doing allows you to step off into that. And if that's your hang up, that money is going to come back to you and then some. That's what I focused on. That's what happened for me. It's that potential is there. So don't worry about that. I'm not saying don't worry about it. I mean, it will work out. It does work out, is what I'm saying. I experienced it for myself. And it was that first step of just saying, okay, I'm nervous, but it's important and I'm going to do it anyway, and we'll work it out. And it worked out, and it worked out again to be able to, so that it was possible for me to be able to sign up for another term.
Yeah.
And I also want to say I am a feeler. And it feels really good to be doing this practice. The inspiration is just phenomenal. I'm just excited every single day to be doing this work and living my life the way I want to, and to feel the support with everybody else. So yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Jess.
Yeah.
Lisa, what you got?
I think for me, like I'm a workaholic, and then I keep myself so busy that I don't feel like what you said. I don't feel anything because I don't allow myself to do that. So I just keep myself so busy, whether, I wake up at 4:30 in the morning, I'm working, I work out. Like, it's just, this is the first time that I've allowed myself to like feel and to think about my life in a different way. And I really don't, the money piece of it was worth every single bit, because I'm just, my kids see me happier, my husband sees me happier, my employees, my community, I just feel like I'm living again. So it's 100% worth it.
Awesome. Thank you. Norma.
Like Jessica, I'm a feeler too, and I think that it doesn't take anything to do the vision call to get the confirmation in your spirit about whether or not the program is right for you and whether or not it seems to be like a match. So I think, and I definitely, have some financial stuff going on. So I was like, ugh. But I also was like, I'm gonna remain stuck in this same place. And I think that, we all have our sense of intuition, and that is what you need to tap into. And once you tap into that, like, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
So,
Adana, take us home.
No
pressure.
Why I gotta go last, man? I think, well, everybody said stuff. So let me see if I can add. Well, for me, I'm an analyzer, so I'm a feeler, but like my brain gets in the way of me feeling. So I'll be like, well, you should feel like this and you should feel like that. And I don't actually feel it. So, my brain likes to put things in order. And for my vision call, Crystal was like, I was like, well, I'm not ready and I'm never going to be ready. And I need time away and I need to just be in an island somewhere. I kept saying that. I need to be in an island disconnected. Don't call me. She's like, that's perfect. And I was like, stop saying words. But like, all that to say is like, you don't have to have everything in order and perfect and aligned to be ready to take the course. Because I feel like, yes, we quote unquote definitely graduated, but I'm still doing the work and I'm still processing and still, so I don't feel like I'm a graduate. I feel like I'm a constant student of the work for me. And yeah, and like things are unfolding and I recognize all these things that that I wasn't. I think if I was like, oh, I'm ready now, I would be like on the like task oriented, and not being oriented. And like, so I'm really assessing who I'm being. Like, is a deep work, and like how to forgive myself and how to like sit with the repercussions of my actions, whether I deem them as good or I deem them as bad or I deem them as confusing or murky, whatever, all the things. And like staying true to the idea that all the doors are closing that need to close in order for me to live my best life, and all the doors are opening that need to open for me to live my best life. And they're doing it in a way that makes me feel uncomfortable, and sitting with that, and like trusting the universe, and like all of that is like super, super hard for me because I'm like, I need to know. I need to know. If I don't know, I can't calculate. If I can't calculate, I can't do the do. And if I can't do the do, who am I? Right? I like get to those deep questions. Who am I if I can't do this? So all of that has been like scrambled, and like yeah. So if you're in a space where you're like really contemplating like all the ducks are not in a row, maybe that's why you need to take it, because you're like, I need to get rid of the ducks. It's not ducks. Maybe it's swans. Maybe it's not even a lake. Maybe it's tadpoles. Like, you know what I mean? It's like all these things that you don't know. And like, you have to put yourself in the uncertainty of it to just then be able to see, because I'm like noticing a lot of things about myself that I'm like, yeah, I want to go home to Trinidad and I want to make that work. And I don't like these things about what academia represents. And so how can I shift my relationship to like all these things that are just really, really important, but in answering them gives you a whole different life.
Yeah. Thanks, Adana. The analytical part is interesting, right? Because a lot of us are trying to think our way to the next level. We're trying to do our way to the next part of our destiny. And really, in this work, we are asking to get back to the core of who we are and ask, what is the vision that was first in my sight? And before I was told it was right, wrong, or real, before I was told what success was, before I was told I needed to look a certain way, talk a certain way, act a certain way, and getting back to that original truth and allowing our true gifts and talents to bring true freedom to our lives. Because we are here to evolve. That's really our only goal. And the vision is to do that in a way that is unique, authentic, and brings us deep resonance and joy. Thank you so much, y'all, for joining this client chat tonight. For those of you who are watching, our next Vision Builder cohort is going to start on May 2nd. If you are interested in that, you should jump over to stepwithcrystal.com and schedule your free vision call. Or you can email info@lifestepsandstages and make sure that you have a time on my calendar before May 2nd. So the real work here is that you don't get what you want, you get who you are. Until you become the person of your vision, then you're just going to keep living a life by default and not by design. This community is about intention, accountability. We heard that from Amor, right? And most of all, love. We trust each other with not only our visions, but what we should be doing with them for the growth of everyone involved. So thank you for watching. If you have questions, feel free to drop those in the comments. We'll get to those when we can. And if this was good for you, share the replay with a friend. We'll talk to you soon, and keep living your best life. Good night, everybody.